Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for calling in. I welcome on the session about RecoverPoint for virtual machines. My name is Daniel Olkowski. I'm based in Warsaw, Poland. During this very short session, hopefully 30 minutes, I would like to describe you and also show how to access any application, any virtual machine from any point of time, from the history, I would say immediately. The agenda for today, first of all, we have to ask if it makes sense to talk about this kind of solutions like RecoverPoint for virtual machines. Maybe backup and recovery is fair enough. Then I will provide a couple of arguments, a couple of possibilities, a couple of values of RecoverPoint. I will show you the architecture of RecoverPoint, and of course we will connect to RecoverPoint and we will see how it works online. We will touch the solution to understand it better. So first of all, let's imagine that we have a crash of our important application that is responsible for cooking now at 10 a.m. Then we have to ask ourselves two questions. First of all, probably we backup this important application via networker, via NetBackup, via data protector, via TSM, via our preferable backup application. We have it on probably best storage, hopefully on a data domain, but we're having the backup, traditional backup application. We have to ask, okay, the file is now at 10 a.m. and the question is, if I start the recovery, where was the last backup? Probably it was 8 p.m. yesterday. Okay, if the last backup was 8 p.m. yesterday, it means that I will lose all of the information from 8 p.m. till 10 a.m. So I will lose 14 hours of data. Okay. Second, in my example, the second thing is how quickly I'm able to recover. Okay? Because if I request my backup application to recover, hopefully to a new disk, hopefully to a new server immediately, hopefully I have all those resources, then it might take half an hour or it might take a couple of days. The question is, if it is important for me that I'm able to recover the application exactly as at the moment of the crash. So is it really important for me that if the crash is at 10 a.m. that I'm able to recover the application exactly at 10 a.m.? And the question is if it is important for me to recover the application immediately without waiting hours or days for a backup application. This is the question that I'm not able to answer. This is something that every one of us who has those kind of application must answer. For quite many of application, it is quite important to being able to restore immediately the application and to the last point of time, to exactly point of the failure. Here is the example. So first, before I show you the example, a question from myself. There is a very important application. The cost of downtime of this application during 1 second is $1. Then the question is, if this application is down for a month, how much it will cost us? The cost of the month in availability of the application is $2.5 million. Okay, so if downtime of my application costs me $1 per second, then 1 hour is almost $4,000. 1 day is $90,000. 1 week is $500,000, and 1 month is $2.5 million. Okay. You can say it's incredible. You can tell me, okay, Daniel, this is something like trying to frighten us. It is absolutely not possible that any application is inaccessible for a month. Okay, I will show you the case of Royal Bank of Scotland. I will not read all of this text because we don't have the time. There was a software update which happened on 19th of June, and this update software corrupted the application. Okay, it corrupted the application, and as you see, it was 19th of June. Okay, 19th of June. 26th of June, the application still not working. 27th of June, application still not working. I mean, customers of this bank are still affected. 2nd of July, still not working. Let's say bank claims that 16th of July, they could fully use the services of the bank, and the issue was just affected by software upgrade. Yeah. So exactly as in my previous table, from 19th of June till 16th of July, this was 27 of days. Let's assume that 1 second costed this bank of that 1 second of inviolability of this application that customer used was $1. That it means that these 27 days cost them $2.3 million of dollars. But of course, it was not all of the costs. There was a lot of more costs. You have all. This is all the public links. It's nothing that I have created by Armon or some hidden information. Nothing like that. Additionally, the customer was fined by this money, couple of millions of pounds and couple of hundreds of millions of pounds of some, set asides of money, whatever. So this is something real. This is something can happen, and in this, I mean, of course, it's not funny because it's a big problem for this customer. But the issue was very simple. There was a problem with upgrade of one of the application, operating system, whatever. Yeah. So, of course, there is a remedy for this. There is a remedy really for fraction, for very small money, which is RecoverPoint for virtual machines. If this customer would have this application on in virtual environment protected with RecoverPoint, probably the availability would be a couple of seconds, and there would be no loss of the data. So what I want to talk about you and what I would like to describe is RecoverPoint for virtual machines. The question is what it gives me, what RecoverPoint for virtual gives me. So RecoverPoint for virtual machines gives you immediate access to any virtual machines from any point of time. Okay, I can say these virtual machines I would like to have in a separate environment exactly as it was 3 seconds ago, exactly as it was 1 hour ago, exactly as it was 1 month ago, whatever. I will have production virtual machines which will be serving normally, which will be working normally. Apart from this, I will have a test, analysis, development, whatever, additional copy of these virtual machines from 3 seconds ago, from 1 hour ago, from a week ago, from 2 weeks ago, whatever. I can have it, I will show you in a demo in a second, and have it, I can have it immediately additionally to production copy. Of course, if production virtual machine will corrupt, if, like in the example, if the upgrade fails, whatever, I can request RecoverPoint to start the copy of the virtual machine exactly as it was in the last state, exactly as it was 3 seconds ago, 1 IO ago, 10 IOs ago. I can do whatever I want. So it's ideal solution for tests. I want to test my application from a week ago, from a second ago. I can do it additionally to the production environment. It's perfect for a recovery. I don't have any downtime. I don't have any loss of data, nothing like that. The recovery is immediate. The recovery is exactly from the failure point. It's perfect for analysis, for development. If anyone wants to have analysis of my application from a week ago, I have the copy of the virtual machine of the application from a week ago. I can provide any analysis. I can provide any development, whatever I want. The very good point of RecoverPoint is the fact that it provides something what is called consistency group. So usually my application is not one virtual machine, but probably a couple of virtual machines. For example, 3 virtual machines. One is application, the second is database, the third is access point. So I can, RecoverPoint can group those 3 virtual machines in a consistency group, and it will start in a test environment, or it can recover all those 3 virtual machines, all the application in the same state exactly as it was during a failure. It's also a nice thing for a disaster recovery because my copy does not have to be a local. It can be in a remote site. Okay, so the production site, it can be my primary site, but the copy which I use for a test, for recovery, for analysis, for development can be in completely different sites. As you see, I have no risk for my critical applications because whatever happens, if there is a failure of upgrade, if there is a soft failure, if there is hardware failure, I don't have to worry about. RecoverPoint will allow me to start my critical application, the same site, the remote site, immediately with no data loss. This application, I mean, RecoverPoint is absolutely incomparable to the traditional backup solutions. I'm very enthusiastic about the Avamar, which in my opinion is a great backup software. It's a fantastic backup software, but unfortunately, even Avamar cannot be close to RecoverPoint for virtual machines because, of course, if I, for example, in Avamar, if I lose virtual machine, Avamar allows me to recover in something like 30, 60, 2 minutes this virtual machine from the last backup, okay? But still this will be 2 minutes, 3 minutes. In RecoverPoint, it will be 0 time recovery. The second thing, Avamar allows me to recover only the last backup from the last backup. In a RecoverPoint, the last point can be corrupted, so I can go back to the previous transaction and then try to recover. So further to the previous transaction, I have granularity per transaction, which is not available in the Avamar, of course, because granularity in the Avamar is 1 hour, let's say, something like that, which is anyhow much better than any other backup software. Usually we backup virtual machines once per day, once per week with other backup softwares. So in Avamar we have once per granularity possibility to recover every hour, and RecoverPoint every transaction. If the last transaction is, if the state of my application for the last transaction is wrong, I can go to the before last transaction, and so on and so on. The recovery time is immediate. In the Avamar, it depends. It can be a couple of seconds, but it can be also a couple of hours. If I have lost completely the application. In the RecoverPoint, the recovery time is always immediate. Reliability, I will explain it further. So, first of all, what is very different about RecoverPoint towards other solution is that RecoverPoint protects absolutely every virtual machine. Okay, so as you know, we can have virtual machines in an environment which are VMDK, which are virtualized, 100% virtualized, but we can have raw disks. Okay, we can have a raw disk, and we have a raw disk, then no backup application, no Avamar, no networker, no any other software is able to backup raw disk because any backup software, together with Avamar, uses snapshots. And VMware does not allow to create a snapshot for raw devices. So in case I have a virtual machine, which is a raw device, I need to backup as a normal physical machine, as a guest level. I don't have a image level backup. No one backup application allows me to protect raw devices, VMware raw devices as an image. For RecoverPoint, I don't care. It can be raw device. It can be virtual. It can be virtualized disk. I mean VMDK. It doesn't matter. I mean, RecoverPoint even doesn't know if this is raw device or VMDK. It just protects every virtual machine. Okay. The other problem with virtual machines is that we have very fast changing virtual machines. So if we have a very fast changing virtual machines, if the number of changes from the backup to backup is more than 3%, then every backup software has a huge issue. The backup is very long. The backup is very slow. It makes the VMware very slow. It's something like disaster. Again, for RecoverPoint, the machine can be fast changing, it can be slow changing, it can be normal. It doesn't matter. RecoverPoint does not care how many changes per second, how many IOs, and so on and so on. There are on this virtual machine. It works with whatever type of virtual machine. Another thing is size of virtual machine. If you have a 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, I have a customers, for example, who have Exchange, 2 terabyte Exchange as a virtual machine. It's a nightmare for every backup application to backup so huge virtual disk, 2 terabytes, 1 terabyte disk. It's absolutely, not maybe for a backup application, but for a VMware, because the snapshot takes a long time, the consolidation and so on. It's very problematic. Again, for RecoverPoint does not care if the virtual machine is 1 gigabyte, 1 terabyte, on 10 terabytes. It doesn't matter. It works perfectly the same good conditions. It doesn't care. He even probably doesn't know that much how big the virtual machine, the disk is. So again, this is a solution for RecoverPoint, is a solution for any environment, any VMware environment at that moment. Disk array doesn't matter. It can be EMC disk, it can be no-name disk, it can be SATA disk, it can be SAS disk, it can be flash disk, whatever you want. We don't care. Can be even local disk in some ESX server. We don't care about this one. You have a protection, highest protection possible. Additionally, it can be, and probably it is a cheaper solution than traditional backup solution, than traditional, I would say, disk tape backup application, because we do not need any additional network. We do not need any additional hardware. We just only need additional storage. It can be, whatever storage, to keep additional copies of the protection. Okay, so let's imagine that my VMware environment that I want to protect is 1 terabyte. I need to provide to RecoverPoint 1.5 terabyte additional storage. Okay, so if I have 1 terabyte of production, I need to provide to RecoverPoint whatever disk of size of 1.5 terabyte, and he's happy. This is enough to have history of all my IOs for something like a week or a month. Yeah, I will explain it technically further. The solution is 100% software, protects at VM level. Okay, so we just point which virtual machines we want to protect. We don't have to protect with RecoverPoint all the virtual machines. No. If you have 100 virtual machines, we can say, okay, I want to protect only 10 or 50 virtual machines, and that's fine. As I mentioned, it's storage agnostic. It doesn't matter if this is SAN, virtual SAN, NAS, direct storage, whatever. It doesn't matter. All the components are in the RecoverPoint. The only thing that RecoverPoint requires, as I mentioned, is additional storage to keep the copies, and it also requires a vCenter. Okay, and it provides, and this additional storage must be local or remote. It depends if you want to protect our virtual machines, our selected virtual machines locally or remotely. So as I mentioned previously, a RecoverPoint is a solution that exists for years. So far, it was only for physical servers, yeah? Now, we extend this for virtual machines, okay? So this is just, I mean, it's not new solution. It's the solution that is for years on the market, which is very well accepted by the market, by the small customer, by the huge customer. I have, for example, RecoverPoint is one of the biggest oil companies in Poland. They're very happy. So this is the solution that is for the years, which we now extended for virtual machines. And it's very nicely accepted. As I mentioned, we have 20,000 installations and thousands of the customers, 250 million of hours. So very 1 exabyte of protected data, very well tested solution, very reliable. We put, as you see, we provide a new version of this one, so we put a big focus on this solution as AMC. So now I take you some value, and now you probably are interested. Okay, so how it works? So what is about the solution? Okay, so now let's imagine that I have a VMware ASX host. I have some VMware vCenter. I have virtual machines, and I have raw devices or VMDK, as I mentioned, doesn't matter, on some local disk, on some storage area disk, doesn't matter. Okay, and I want to protect this all. RecoverPoint, it consists from 3 components. First of all, is a splitter. You see here, this is a splitter. The split, so it means that the splitter is installed on every ESX server on which we want to protect virtual machines. So if I have 4 ESX servers, and I want to protect 10 virtual machines on 3 ESX servers, I will install those splitters on 3 ESX servers. So this splitter, this is just very easy to install. I have installed this myself. This is just component of ESX server. After you install it, when a virtual machine, let's imagine there's virtual machines we want to protect, okay? And this virtual machine, normally, VMware, when virtual machines writes data, VMware writes data to VMDK or your device, and then before it happens, the splitter takes this movement, and of course it puts it directly to a disk of these virtual machines, but additionally, it splits the writing of these virtual machines, and it puts it to additional 2 virtual machines, because when we install a RecoverPoint, we have to install at least 2 RecoverPoint virtual machines that accept the splitted writing. Okay, in my environment, okay, in my environment, this is 1 virtual machine, and this is a second virtual machine. Okay, and those 2 virtual machines, they accept the splitted writings. You see they're not very huge. Every of these virtual is 8 gig RAM, so not very big, but we need 2 of them for availability. Okay, so those 2 virtual machines, they get splitted additional writings. Okay, and then they write it to a journal. So as I mentioned, a journal is something like additional disk that keeps copies of our production virtual machines. So every IO that goes to the real VMDK, to real raw devices, to real, let's say, data store, the same IO goes to the journal, to additional disk of the to additional disks that RecoverPoint manages. Okay, and then from the journal, RecoverPoint copies the IO to replica. So RecoverPoint tries to keep replica and production exactly in the same state. Okay, so let's say that I have 4 virtual machines. I have 4 virtual machines that that builds my application, and they are in VMDK or raw devices in some data store. So RecoverPoint will keep exactly the same state as here in the replica, because if this one fails, I have replica immediately available to start my virtual machines, not from production disk, but from the replica. I can set up, we will see this, I can set up if the replica must be synchronous to the production, or it must be, or it can be asynchronous, and I can say, okay, how much asynchronous can be replica, so how far behind the production can be replica. For example, if I want to, if my replica is in a remote site, a very weak connection, then I can say, okay, I allow 5-second delay between replica and the production. So if replica is almost exactly, depends if synchronous or asynchronous, state of the disk to the production, what I do need a journal. So journal is all transactions from the past. So for replica keeps just last copy of the production. But if I want to start my 4 virtual machines, my application that consists of 4 virtual machines, not from the last moment of time, but from the 2 seconds ago, from 10 IOs ago, from 20 IOs ago, from 1 ago, then RecoverPoint will apply from journal changes to the replica, and it start additional instances of those 4 virtual machines from this replica, but this replica will be not exactly as in last state of the production, but from example from a week ago, because in a journal I keep all the IOs from the history. So replica is one-to-one to production, or almost one-to-one to the production. This is asynchronous, but journal keeps the history of all those for all those IOs that allows me to go back to any state of my single virtual machine or my application consisting from a couple of virtual machines. This replica and journal, if I want to keep the history for a month, it is something like 150%. So if the production is 1 terabyte, this all journal plus replica, it's 1.5 terabyte, something like that. I don't see any question. Hopefully everything is clear. If you have any question, don't hesitate to ask. Again, this was a local copy. I have this journal and replica in a remote site, and I can protect my production in a remote site. It doesn't matter. Okay? So, without RecoverPoint, with a backup solution, I have a, let's say, I have a snapshot. I have images with just, you know, photo camera. So I have probably once per day, maybe once per 3 hours, image of my database, of my file system. With RecoverPoint, I have continuous protection. I can go back to any IO from any time immediately. I will show you in a second. Regarding deployment, so if you want to check RecoverPoint, EMC gives free RecoverPoint for any test for any time. Okay, just go to support.emc.com or just send me an email. I will show you my email address at the end of the presentation. I will provide you the binaries for the RecoverPoint. You can try it free. You can try it for whatever period of time you want. The only difference between the test RecoverPoint and production is that you will see that the information, this is a test RecoverPoint, it's not production. Okay, apart from that, it's functional. So let's go to the demo, because we're a little bit over a time. So we'll go. So this is my vCenter. This is my web client. When you install a RecoverPoint, you will see additional plugin, RecoverPoint for virtual machines, okay, where you see some dashboard about events, about your groups. I have only one group. As you see, I use Recover trial version, not for production use. So this is the message that I have, because I use a trial version, not production, but apart from that, it's just normal, full functional, no time limit RecoverPoint. You can use it as long as you want. we don't require any registration, anything like that. Just access to support.emc.com. Okay. Of course, you can see a protection. I have only one virtual machine which is protected. This is a local copy, copy number 2, because copy number 1 is production. I can provide some administration tasks, define some policy templates, and so on. Okay, so this is the plugin. But then, okay, I would like to protect some virtual machine. So I go to virtual machines, hosts and clusters, and let's say I would like to protect these virtual machines. Okay, as you see, when you go to any virtual machines in manage, you will have RecoverPoint for virtual machine. Okay, and you have only one option. You can say, I want that this virtual machine will be protected with RecoverPoint. Okay, I want it. Good. Then there is a wizard. This wizard asks me, okay, Daniel, do you want to create a new consistency group for this virtual machine? As you remember, I mentioned that RecoverPoint does not start a virtual machine. It starts the whole group of virtual machines, because usually, as I mentioned, my application is not one virtual machine. It's usually an application, database, logs, access point, and so on and so on. So, for example, for virtual machines, they create an application, and I want that all of them are exactly in the same state. And exactly in the same state. So when I recover or when I test, I will test them from exactly the same point of time. I want to, in this case, for example, I want to create a new consistency group. I will call this consistency group Daniel 1. And let's say now I choose RecoverPoint cluster, those two virtual machines that will be taking a splitting movement, a splitting writings of these virtual machines, and will be putting to a journal and to the copy. Okay, so this I choose a RecoverPoint cluster that will take a splitted writing. Okay. Now it asks me, okay, Daniel, do you want that I will keep? Do you want Daniel, that this replica, do you want this replica to be synchronous to the production, or you want to be asynchronous? Okay, I can choose that 25 seconds, for example, maximum difference between replica and production. Okay, I will say asynchronous, but only 3 seconds. I allow for 3 second difference. Okay, so I need to now choose resources, of course, for because when I will be testing this Linux application, that of course the Linux application as a production, it will still work. So I need to choose another ASX host that will run another test copy from 1 IO, from 10 IOs, from 1 week ago. You understand me? Yeah. So I have to choose which server, which ASX host will become a server for additional copy of this production virtual machine, or, for example, if it completely fails, which ASX host will start the failover copy. I have one host, so there is no problem. I have to choose a data store where there will be a journal and there will be a replica. I also have to choose journals from the source, a journal for the target. Okay, and this is all. I just click finish. When I click finish, then I will see. I will not do that because it will take a long time in my environment, which is very poor, probably 5–10 minutes for initial, because for initial, to create the initial replica. Okay, but then after this, as you see, I have created this before for this Linux web virtual machine, and this Linux web virtual machine. Yes, it has additional copy, which is called Linux web.copy.RecoverPoint. Okay, so if this application if this virtual machine will fail, I can immediately start a copy, this copy, on another store, on another VMware data store, on another disk, on another ASX server that I have defined immediately. Okay, because this is, let's say, this is a shadow copy of this virtual machine, and this one on completely different environment. It just waits until this virtual machine fails. So, what can we do? What can we do with this Linux web virtual machine? It works now very, very good. It looks so. So we can apply bookmarks. So we can say, for example, we'll have an upgrade, yeah, like in this customers, in the example of the customer. So I can say, apply a bookmark, for example. Let's apply a bookmark before upgrade, for example. Before upgrade, for example, and this is, I mentioned that this is application consistent. Okay, now I can start the upgrade. Even if it fails, I'm able to go back to the state before the upgrade because I have bookmarked this. What I can do additional, I can test copy. So I can request the copy of this Linux web virtual machine will start here, because this is copy. This copy will start on different data store, on different storage, on different physical machine with whatever point of time. We'll do that in a moment. So I will have two applications, production and testing. Okay. Additionally, I can recover production. Okay, so I can say, oh, my upgrade of this Linux web failed. So I want that, I want a recover production from the state, for example, of the bookmark before upgrade. Yeah, this is a wizard that it will allow me for this. And I can fail over, so I can say I don't want anymore that this Linux web is my production. I want that this copy on different storage, on different server, that this will be my production. Okay, and of course I can unprotect. I can say I don't want to protect this anymore. So let's say that we want to test. Okay, we have a Linux WEX application, but additionally we would like to test. Okay, we would like to test this Linux web application from a couple of IOs before. Okay, so I would like to test consistency group because this is for me the only option, and I want to test from, you see, from whatever state. As you see, I have hundreds, thousands of states. Every IO is watched by RecoverPoint. I can choose any IO from which I would like to test. It can be last IO, it can be second ago, it can be week ago, it can be a month ago, whatever policy I will define. But in this test, I would like to test my application before upgrade, because something is good for me. So I would like to check if this Linux web is exactly current state of Linux web is exactly the same as before the upgrade of my application. Next. Then he asked me, okay, Daniel, you want to start your Linux web copy, personal copy of this Linux web, but it can be in isolated network. It makes sense, because if it will be in the same network as production, then this will be the same IP address and there will be IP conflict. It can be in the shared network. You can select the network, or I can don't use the network. Okay. So additional copy from, let's say, a week ago, whatever, I can define define the network environment for my tests. Okay, then he shows me some information, and then he confirms that I really want enable image access, for example, 2 weeks ago to the state that I provided. And then what at that moment the RecoverPoint does, he changes Linux web copy RecoverPoint, Linux web copy, okay? He just applies from journal all IOs that the replica will match the state that I wanted from, for example, a week ago or a second ago, and it starts and it starts the virtual machine. Okay, so now I have the virtual machine. So I have, of course, Linux web, virtual machine that works as a production. That's fine. I have the Linux web, but I also have Linux web copy, which is the same virtual machines as Linux web, but for example, from a second ago, a week ago, from a time that I have specified. Okay, when I go to the summary, I can launch console, okay, to see if it's really true. Of course, when you go, just a second ago, of course, at that moment, the production is still going on. So all the changes still apply to the journal. All the changes still to the journal, and I'm still protected. I test my application as it was 1 week ago, 1 day ago, 1 hour ago, but my production is still protected. All the I/O they still go to the all the I/Os still go to the journal, and I'm protected. So as you see, of course, so as you see, this is the application as it was one I/O ago. In my case, it's very simple. It's exactly the same, Linux as it was, because what is the difference between one I/O? But licensing is very simple. Minimum number of virtual machines protected is 15, but you can protect only 15, 16, 20 virtual machines, even if you have a 1,000 or 100, it doesn't matter. I would, in my opinion, it's not a competition to traditional backup software, Avamar, Networker, NetBackup, TSM. It's just add-on for critical application because it's a genius, in my opinion. Take a test, as in my case. Yeah, I have a test from support.emc.com. So just test yourself. It does not cost you anything. Request our partners to help you with this, because it should be easy for them. Yeah, so you can test it. Whatever, we don't limit. We don't need any registration. Fantastic solution for test, for recovery, for analysis. Immediate access to any point of time, to last moment, to moment ago. Great for disaster recovery as well. Fantastic. No risk for critical application. Because critical application in availability can cost a lot of money, as I showed you before, and comparable parameters to traditional backup solution, because it doesn't care about the disk. It can be raw devices, it can be VMDK, it can be fast-changing virtual machine, it can be regular one, it can be huge virtual machine, it can be standard. Disk array doesn't matter, local or standalone or global disk array doesn't matter. No additional network, no additional hardware, just a little bit additional storage, which we want. You would like to access or you would like to access RecoverPoint, just write me an email. Okay. And I will provide you all the materials. I will share you all the materials regarding the RecoverPoint, because very easy, very simple, and very powerful solution. So from my side, this is everything. Thank you very much for the time. Sorry for extending the time a little bit. Hopefully it was a value for you. And see you on the next session. Thank you very much for the time.